right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins here for a little bit. Look, it's OTA season. It's time for everyone to get excited over highlights and things like that, seeing what your new team is going to start to look like as we get ready for 2024. The Miami Dolphins, of course, are no different. But when we go through this phase of the offseason, I always think it's important to focus on what players, what young additions, what rookies specifically that the coaching staff was really excited about and are really excited about. And Mike McDaniel being a smart guy, obviously, if he's excited about a player, that's a great sign going forward. And we've got a report highlighting the addition of wide receiver Malik Washington and how Mike McDaniel's really pumped up about him. Let's get into the article, then we'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. All right, this is from Touchdown Wire. The Dolphins are the NFL's conceptual answer to the question, what if they build the entire plane out of the black box? Head coach Mike McDaniel wants speed on the field no matter what, and that's what he got in Virginia wide receiver Malik Washington. McDaniel was really happy to get Washington with the 184th pick in the 6th round. Here's the important part, to the point where he had been bugging general manager Chris Greer to make that selection for a while. McDaniel was reportedly really high on Washington. He wanted him much earlier. He was very happy when Greer finally decided to pull the trigger and acquire Washington. He is really big on Washington, what he can bring to this team going forward. And he is not the only one. The media, the analysts are involved as well. Let's pull up this tweet from Fins Extra. And it highlights here that Bleacher Report has named Malik Washington Miami Dolphins' best acquisition this offseason. That's incredibly high praise. We talked about a lot of the Dolphins moves, whether it's been offensive line, secondary. I think they made probably one of the steals of the offseason when they got Fuller. But according to Bleacher Report, Malik Washington is seen as the best acquisition, which kind of falls in line with what Mike McDaniel said. That's what we call corroborating evidence. I think this is a great sign for Washington and the Dolphins going forward. Myers, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Dolphins fans in the comment section below, of all the rookies the Dolphins picked up outside of Washington, which one are you most excited to see play? There's a lot of big-time playmakers, offense and defense, but we're going to make you pick one. Can't pick Washington, though. Give us that guy you're most excited to see play in the comment section below. But, Mike, give me your thoughts on this latest news in terms of Malik Washington and how excited Mike McDaniel and really everyone is to see this impressive rookie step out on the field.
Yeah, Nick, this kind of reminds me similarly to when they talk about the structure of building the teams, the old Raiders, or the old Oakland Raiders, when they'd always talk about having the fastest guy. They'd always want to go after like a really quick receiver. But they didn't ever really, I feel like, have the structure on the team, the coaching, the play calling to execute and utilize those guys effectively. Well, Mike McDaniel seems we know he's an offensive genius. He's able to have a strong, coaching structure, play structure that suits these types of players. He knows how to use them. He's got a quarterback in Tua who's able to deliver the ball to these guys and really make strikes down the field. But now he's gotten probably the perfect setup. You got Hill, who's a speed demon. You got Waddle, who's a speed demon. Mostert was fast, maybe getting a little bit slower nowadays, but A-Chain definitely incredibly fast. You got Jonnu Smith in his heyday. He's one of the faster tight ends in the league. Then you add in a guy like Washington. And I'm surprised like you are. They're calling him the best acquisition of the Dolphins, which I think probably is of this offseason. But you got guys like Odell Beckham they just picked up. You got guys like Fuller they just picked up. These are smart, savvy veterans, but showing that I think when you call a guy like Washington the best acquisition, I think what people are saying is there's a concept. Mike McDaniel likes fast guys, but not only that, he's able to use them extremely effectively. And having another guy like Washington, we talked about this before. Hill and Waddle on this roster last season was incredible, having that much speed. When they added A-Chain, we thought it would break the mold of what the Dolphins were able to do, and it did for a while until he got injured and then coming back into the fold. But now they have another guy like Washington, another receiver on this roster as well. I think he could be another guy that could potentially work his way into the starting lineup eventually and break the mold. You have 4 guys on the field, all of them insanely fast. I think this is just really something special that Mike McDaniel has brewing, but I'm glad because it's like having a Ferrari. If you don't know how to drive it, it's just a metal box in your driveway. But Mike McDaniel's a seasoned driver, and he knows exactly what to do with these guys.
Yeah, one of the things I think really stuck out to me hearing more about Mike McDaniel and the reports out of Dolphins OTAs and how they are excited with Malik Washington. I can't help but go back to week 17 of the 2023 season, the Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. It was one of the bigger games of the year. Everyone thought it was a great matchup on paper, at least. And of course, unfortunately for Dolphins fans, the Ravens handled Miami very easily, although I felt the game kind of got away from Miami a little bit. I think they could have hung on if a few things would have gone a little bit differently. But I think what really stuck out to me is that the Baltimore Ravens had a rookie wide receiver. He's about 5'9, 190 pounds, runs a 4.40, incredibly productive in college. And he went out and torched the Dolphins secondary, 3 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. I guarantee you, Mike McDaniel looked at them and said, okay, we need our Zay Flowers. We need our guy that the Ravens picked up who kind of changed the math for a defense as a slot receiver who has the ability to make big plays, right? Because we know Tyreek Hill is amazing, spectacular. I think he's one of the best players in football. I think it's undeniably so. We know Jalen Waddle's a good player. We know Odell Beckham in spots. We know Jonnu Smith in spots can be productive, but they're not going to be heavy volume guys. I look at a guy in Washington. He's a guy who can catch 4, 5, 6 passes a game, working out of the slot, whether it's vertically or horizontally, very easily. He did that in college, was an All-American, insanely productive. I think 10 of his last 100 games at the college level, he had over 100 yards receiving. So he can be a volume guy for this Dolphins offense, which I think is critically important to them. And I think that's why Mike McDaniel is so excited. And that's why everyone in the media landscape is like, hey, listen, this guy's going to have a heck of a rookie year. Because if you look at Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill can be a volume guy, but he's not really what he's desired. He's a huge, big play generator guy. He's a guy who catches 5 passes for 140 yards. That's his game. Jalen Waddle can be kind of similar. He can catch a lot of passes, but you don't want him to with the injury concerns. You want to kind of pitch count him a little bit. And like I said, Beckham and guys like Jonnu Smith are getting up there. So you still want another receiver who can generate some big plays and convert some key third downs. You got your guy. You got the Ravens, got their Zay Flowers. You got it in Malik Washington. And that's exactly why Mike McDaniel is so excited what this kid will bring to this Dolphins offense. Because not only is it another weapon, it allows them to lower the pitch count on Tyreek Hill, reduce injuries, lower the pitch count on Jalen Waddle, reduce injuries, right? Allow Odell Beckham to just do his limited role in the offense. That's why it's so critically important that the Dolphins picked up Malik Washington. Look, I think they made a lot of great moves, certainly on defense. I'm actually a big Aaron Brewer fan. I thought that was a pretty good pickup too. But I think the addition of Malik Washington was one of the under radar moves any team made this offseason. And I think he'll pay huge dividends for the Dolphins this year.